Yesterday was a great day. Today was like a day. This off and on is never fun.
Good evening, everybody, and
Happy Sunday.
welcome to Sunday Chat with Jean-Luc and Nick. This was supposed to be last week's Sunday Chat, but as you all know, we weren't feeling that well. We're slowly on the uh, rebound, right? I would say.
Yeah, or we're mending. I always find rebound is like relationships. Like you're on a rebound when you come to a relationship. But but yeah, it works. Whatever you want to say, honey, I just agree. Yes.
Awesome.
That
So
way,
we are
that way
also
I won't get
live.
in trouble later.
We're also live tonight on Facebook as well. So hi everybody on Facebook. If you want to join us in Zoom, just go to p3experience.com, scroll down, and you'll see there's a link to actually join us. We are excited to have you all here with us today. My laptop is being slow on me, so I apologize if I'm a little glitchy. But yes, we're glad to be back. Tonight's topic is all about self-care. So we'll talk to you guys about the importance of self-care, how our tricks, I guess, our tricks and tips on how we make sure to have self-care in our life, what we've gone through the last little weeks, and we'll talk about
And
January, February.
the irony behind how this topic comes into play is a perfect timing, and it's not like it was planned. Um, it just happened to happen that we've had some self care to ourselves recently, so
Mhm.
it's a great time to talk about it right now.
So before we do that, though, let's do a bit of announcements. So I have them saved right here on my laptop. I hope you like. We decided we'd enjoy doing our sessions from the couch. It's more us, and we find that we can each. It also, you know what it does? Everybody forces us to take turns talking, because because we each have our mic set, we have to take turns, so we actually watch who's talking when we're doing it this way. Otherwise, we just you know bicker even more, I guess, right, hun?
Always bicker, bicker, bicker.
Okay, so I'm
What did you say?
So tonight's announcement. So this week happening on P3. So tomorrow is our welcome to P3 March. So we'll be welcoming you for the month of March. We'll go more into detail on the calendar to tomorrow night. I'm just gonna give you guys just a quick glimpse today, so that you guys will get the information tomorrow night, anyways. But just so you know, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock is welcome to P3 March, and then there's also a Power Up with Antoinette tomorrow night at noon that's happening as well. And then the rest of the schedule you'll find out, tomorrow night. So come join us tomorrow night, and you'll get the rest of the schedule. I don't want to, bother you the same thing, saying two things twice. And you can also find all these events on the dashboard as well as the Facebook VIP group if you want to join the events happening this week. Other things happening, don't forget to register for the World Wildlife Fund CN Tower climb with P3. We'll be climbing the CN Tower as a group. This is no race. We're doing it as a community, so no one's going to be left behind. Jean-Luc and I are going to make sure to stay and remain with anybody climbing. We'll be there, all of us cheering. We'll be the
I'm looking
cheerleaders.
at it the other way. They're going to be staying with me because I'm going to have a struggle climbing this. I'm not going to struggle, but
Exactly.
it's going to take me some time to climb
Yeah.
this tower.
And you know what? We'll wear we're getting some shirts made. We already have some ideas. We're gonna get some shirts made, and we'll be the cheerleaders as people are going by. They'll remember us. We'll be like, "Woo!" We'll be like those people cheering us. That'll be us. That's what we'll do when we're doing this entire climb. So if you're interested in climbing with us, let us know or visit our website, jeanlucandnick.com. It's actually on our website if you want to actually register or if you want to donate. If you can't see yourself climbing, but you guys want to support us, I haven't been able to raise any money yet because I feel bad sharing the link. So, but if you want to donate for the cause, you can donate like $5. It's the amount doesn't matter. It's up to you. Again, go to jeanlucandnick.com, scroll down, and you'll see a section on the CN Tower climb. And you also see some details about the upcoming Rustic Mama retreats that we are doing in May and June. So that's also on our website, jeanlucandnick.com. So if you guys want to join us at Rustic Mama this summer, the one in June is the 100th retreat celebration. So and it's at Camp White Pine, which was one of the food was amazing. So
And this hasn't been confirmed, but this is somewhat hot off the presses. Just let's say potentially the long weekend in May, there might be an event of doing a CN Tower edge walk.
edge walk.
Just an FYI, that might be and Lynn is joining right away. I already have her registered.
Come on, Lynn. When have you not had fun with heights with us? So, those are the announcements for today. Again, if you have any questions for us, please send us an email at admin@p3experience.com. Tomorrow night, during the Welcome to P3 session, we will also be doing the weight loss tournament. And we will also be drawing the winners from January and February for the daily submissions for your the questions we asked or the pictures we asked you to submit in February. So we'll do all that tomorrow during the Welcome to
Those
P3.
are the community
Yes,
challenges.
yes. So we'll be doing that tomorrow night as well. Okay, so now let's jump to the topic of self-care. So first things to kick off the discussion, one of the things that was in the description of our chat was about selfishness and self-care. I think one of the big things that we need to just identify first is that taking care of yourself is one of the most important pieces of your life. Even if you have family members, children, parents, people depend on you. Yes, those people are important, but if you are not there, you can't take care of them. If you're someone right now that's devoting your entire life to take care of someone because you're their, you're basically their caregiver. If that's your life devotion, and I'm not saying anything wrong with that, but in that life, you have to carve out time for yourself. Because if you do not carve out time for yourself, eventually that will lead. But you keep giving me looks like you're
No, because
like
I'm
you just.
thinking. I'm
Oh,
allowed to
okay.
think. Let me think. Oh my God. I don't look at you when you go.
So it leads sometimes so that's what I want to say. It's okay to take care of yourself. You have to be able to, yes, you can sacrifice helping others, but at some point, part of that sacrifice has to include you as well. And so that's why we want to kick off this discussion tonight, because we might talk about things like saying, go have a massage. You might think, oh my God, they're saying go have a massage. I can't believe that they're saying to do that. We're going to give these examples because every one of us has different ways of relaxing. And so we're going to provide different ideas tonight to help you find different ways of self-care.
But I think it's very interesting because the word self and it's and alone, when you're just talking about, we automatically as a society has said if we look at ourselves, if we put ourselves first, we're not being a thoughtful person. We're not being caring and we're not being, we're not following what we should be doing as good and loving people if we are a number one priority, which is actually, in my own opinion, incorrect. I think when you take care of yourself first and you take care of yourself properly, you're actually able to take care of others better.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think when you take care of who you are and what you need, you don't feel this, you feel more capable of helping other people, right? You feel that you're like, I at least feel that I have a better outlook on things when I'm good to myself because it allows me to feel like I can be good. I should be good to others as well, right?
And self-care is not just, material things. It's also, self-care is also your mind, you know, taking time off for yourself, meditation, taking those moments to unwind. That's also self-care. A lot of people think those times of taking those 10 minutes for yourself, or, taking that weekend away from your family because you need some time away. Some people would think that's selfish, but no, you need to do that. If you're someone that with your Hey, if you're with your children 52 weeks a year all the time, I can understand needing a vacation from them sometimes. I'm with children for 1 or 2 days sometimes, and I'm ready for a vacation for the rest of the year. I have the luxury that I have a life that I don't have children. But some of you, you have kids, or you have grandchildren, or you have parents that you are at a point in your life where you have to take care of them. We are lucky in the sense that we don't have those same responsibilities, but even if we did have those responsibilities, we still would understand the importance of always making sure that part of our lives is caring for ourselves. So now how do you create yourself some time to actually get some self-care? Like, how do you make this happen? Like, how do you make sure that you carve yourself time in your busy life? Because you're already juggling everything. You're juggling your job,
Well,
family.
and it's always about carving time for everything that we fricking do in the world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Carving time for, first of all, our work. And And a lot of time we don't get to choose the time we carve out for work, right? Work is something that, hey, you have a job, they give you a schedule most of the time, or they ask you to give them a schedule, and then you are obligated in a specific amount of in a way to actually fulfill what you provide to them. So why don't we look at self-care in the same aspect, right? Why don't we look at self-care in the same way that we are we should be obligated to take time to take care of ourselves. And yes, we do it often. Meal prepping is self-care. Being active is self-care. Being part of a community is self-care. Doing your manifestations and your what's the word I'm looking for? Your
Affirmations.
affirmations. That's like testimonials. I was like, I don't know why that's the word that was coming out. Your
Thank God I'm
affirmation,
here. The
your
second half of the brain's right
affirmations,
here.
um, self-care. You know, uh, brushing your teeth in the
It's
morning is
self-care.
self-care. Taking a shower is self-care, right? But it's funny how those things, because we are trained that we need to do them, we don't look at them in the same aspect of saying, oh, well, I'm going to take a 20-minute break and go hide in a room and just read my book right now. We don't look at that as self-care, but it is. Or I'm actually going to go find a friend, and I'm going to go find that friend that I can talk to about absolutely anything and just say, hey, this is my 15 minutes where I'm going to do a self-care chat with my friend right now. But we don't look at that as self-care. So it's funny how we have to identify what we do and say, you know what? Even though it might not seem like self-care, this is the self-care that I currently need at this specific time.
So how do you carve out time? You have to make yourself a priority. And sometimes that's hard for us. And that's why I was saying this at the beginning of the session. You know, we often put others as the most important in our lives. And that's fine if you want to do that. But like I said, you have to set time and carve out the time that you need to do. So how do you start doing that? So how do you figure out how do you add time? So you look at your existing schedules, what do you do normally every day? And Jean-Luc and I are all about efficiencies, and we're actually going to be having a session. I think our next one is all about efficiency. Things Jean-Luc and I do to make our lives a little more easier to manage in some ways. And I'll explain to you how it all works out. So let's assume, you currently in your life, or let's do Jean-Luc and I have a perfect example. Jean-Luc and I often do this. We decide, okay, we're coming home from a trip. Because we're coming home from a trip, we have no groceries in the house. We also possibly have to go drop off a package somewhere, or maybe there's things that we brought back from Jean-Luc's mom that we have to drop off at the garbage. So there's all these various tasks that are associated with our return home. A lot of people would say, okay, let's do them in sequential order. First, we'll go to the store and get that done. Second, we'll go do this part of the task, and all together. The two of us will do all these tasks in sequential order. How long does that take? 2 hours. Instead, what Jean-Luc and I often do instead is he'll drop me off at home. I'll do the work at home while he'll take the car and go shopping, and we'll both do the task at the same time with less time taken to do both tasks. So what I'm
Don't
saying, let me finish. What I'm saying is look at what you're doing in your life as tasks. Are there any of those tasks that can be done simultaneously together? So
You're talking about next week's topic already. We're talking
I
about
know,
self-care.
but it ties in. Next week's gonna be more examples of things you can actually do. This is just one sample of our personal thing that we do. So we often do this, Jean-Luc and I. We look at things that we're doing that are separate, that could somehow be combined together, that we can do at the same time to then make our lives more efficient. Because again,
And
you're
I know where Nick is trying to say with this is the fact that it adds extra time into our life because we're not wasting time. So that's where you carve out that extra time for self-care. By saving the time in being efficient, you are adding extra time in your regular day that you might not have had if you weren't really thinking about planning out the things that you regularly need to do in order to have that open availability and not wasting time doing something instead, doing something
Here,
that wasn't as important
here's
instead.
another example. Here's another example for all of you. You're making your favorite meal in the kitchen. Your kitchen is organized and you know where everything is, every single utensil, and everything's there where it's supposed to be. You go away for a month because you're on a vacation. You're going around the world, and during that time, you have someone staying at your place who's just staying there, who doesn't know how you do things, and they come in and they start living in your place for a while. You come home, you're about to make dinner. How much longer does your dinner take to make? When you don't know where all your utensils are, you spend half the time now looking for everything. Think about how that can be applied in your life. And I know a lot of people say, well, Nick, that's just being organized. Organization is the key to making your lives streamlined to help you do things better. Why do you think companies all want to have automation and all this stuff? Because they've realized that when things are repetitive and things are done in sequential order, they tend to take more time. When you can combine some of them and it makes sense for you. I'm not saying what we're doing is going to work for you, but maybe you can figure out in your life two things that you're separating, doing individual times during your week that you're like, hey, you know, when I'm watching Netflix, my favorite show on Tuesdays, I'm also need to go to the gym at the same that day too. Why don't I do it together? You've just now carved out 30 minutes back, and now you can say instead of that 30 minutes, I'll now sit down and meditate that night and take time to take care of myself, or I'll take a bubble bath for myself for 30 minutes.
And I think that's where the important part is right now is the understanding of let's not even the piggybacking of activities, but finding things right now that you can carve out for yourself. And again, what does everything start off with? Making yourself a list, people. Make yourself a list of the things that you can do for yourself, either by yourself or with somebody else. But these things are things that are for you. They're not things that are an obligation, because as soon as it becomes an obligation, it no longer feels like self care, right? As soon as you're obligated to do something, it feels like it's a responsibility. However, if you add it to a list of things that you feel like you almost feel naughty for doing it. And I know that sounds silly, but those are the things that make you feel like you're actually taking care of yourself, because you're putting something, you're putting your needs ahead of others or ahead of what needs to be done. And I'm not saying that you're not going to get other things done. It's just that at that moment in time, this should be your priority.
So we'll talk about next week a lot more tips on how to be efficiencies, things that Jean-Luc and I do that a lot of people always ask us, you guys work full-time jobs, you've got P3, you do step, you go do all these events all the time. How do you guys do all this? What I just explained to you, when Jean-Lucas and I have been just talking to you guys about, is a curated, workable years of working together. I always say the joke. People always ask, this is not really a joke, but people always said, you know, you guys are so insane together. You know, it's if it would be weird if you weren't together. And I said, yeah, like if I were to do Jean-Luc right now, like pew pew, knock on wood. No, I'm just not wishing it. I'm just if it were to happen, I know I would probably remain single for the rest of my life because I found the person that matches me correctly in terms of how we work together. We are a well-oiled machine. So we work together. We both try to find efficiencies. We understand the value of time. Time is a fleeting thing. You have no idea when time will disappear for you. You have no idea when time will be over for you. And all we've been talking for P3 for the last 2 years for all of you guys, and it's for us for the last 5 years since we lost our initial weight back in 2018. We're not doing this anymore because, you know, we're trying to be supermodels, even though I think I still am. I'm not trying to be a supermodel, but what we're trying to do is live longer and increase the time that we have in our life. But that also means that we don't want to waste our time that we're living as well. We want to make the best of it. We want to make sure the things we're doing are enjoyable. So if things that we're doing right now in our lives are unenjoyable, grocery shopping, and you know, unenjoyable, going to clean out the storage locker, then Jean-Luc and I might say, you know what, they both suck. So one of us is going to stay behind into the storage locker. Most likely it would be me. And Jean-Luc would go shopping because he tends to be the one, he loves shopping. I hate shopping. So Anytime shopping is a task, he like jumps on it and I just send him and he always comes home with the right stuff. And so he's perfect at it. So I don't even, not even a question. But we also have efficiencies with that as well. We've talked about her grocery list, how we do that as well, how we take care of inventory of products. There's so many things that Jean-Luc and I do. And it's not like we got to this final product in one day. This process takes years. So you can't look at your life and say, "Oh my God, I can't believe I can't. This is too much. I can't change everything." No, we're saying make yourself a list. Jean-Luc said it. Make yourself a list.
of
Look at
things that you want to do for yourself, what you need to do to help yourself throughout your journey. This is what we're talking about today. Not about going to grocery stores and that, because that's next week's topic.
yeah.
We're talking about taking care of your mind, your body, and your soul. So if there's a day where you need to take that 30 minutes to say, guess what? I'm going to sit down today and I'm going to eat my lunch. And it might not be the perfect P3 lunch, but this is what I'm having today because this is what I need for myself. I need this for me. I need to take this moment because of whatever I'm going through. These are the moments where you need to really look deep down inside yourself because again, that whole concept of us being, you know, as we've said many a times as humans, we're born with no ability. The ability to love is something that we're taught, right? The ability to hate is something that we're taught. The ability to think is something that we're taught. The ability to be selfish is something that we're taught,
Well, actually, I
right?
actually think we're actually born with it. And I talked about this before. I
Mm.
think human beings, if you think about it, we are taught to share. Kindergarten, one of the first things that we are taught is to share with others because most children, think about it, if a child has a new sibling that comes along, the jealousy that starts happening there, most of us want are born in a like we are born thinking about ourselves, and that's what greed is about only thinking about yourself. And so if you're not taught to share, you become a person that's older, that's greedy as well. You can think of there's so many examples in the world of people. I'm not going to name names, but you can think they exist out there, and you listen to them talk and the lives they live, and they're totally clueless to what other people's lives are like because they think about a lot of people in a lot of situations. People think about themselves first, and that's ingrained in humanity. And so if that's the first in yes, you go ahead. I want to hear your point on that.
I was just gonna say it's so funny because it's like this whole idea of being greedy, right? Because being greedy means and being selfish means I'm putting my needs first and hurting others by doing so.
Exactly.
That's the difference. Being selfish and saying I need time for myself where you're not that's not hurting anybody. And I think that's where we really need to
We make
understand
believe
the difference. We
we
might believe we're hurting people, but the action of me going into a room and reading my book alone and not wanting to be bothered, I'm technically not hurting anybody. But if
the
I
poor
know
book.
if I if I know someone is in absolute need, like for example, okay, this is the difference. Your significant other or child is in the kitchen and they burn themselves on something and you go, oh, wait a minute here. I have time to go read my book right now. I'm not going to go sit. This is
Sorry,
scheduled. This is my selfless time right now. So you deal with your own burn and I'm going to go read my book. That's being selfish,
because that's
right?
hurting someone.
That's when you're no longer taking care. You're taking care of yourself before others. But again, there's a time and a place when you know that there's certain places where if your kid is saying, hey mom, I didn't do my homework and I really need some help, it could be that time where you're like, well, you know what, you start doing your homework. When I'm done reading my book in 20 minutes, I'll come see how I can help you, right? There's a difference there. You're not hurting your child at that point in time. You're making them do hold, hold some responsibility for the actions that they did not do, and you're still taking care of yourself by not saying that you're not a priority in whatever you thought you needed to do on that in that moment.
And that's the thing. So one of the things that we wanted to talk tonight about was so we're not actually giving you guys examples of self-care because you guys know what self-care is. We've talked about it before: massages, going to mani pedis, just sitting down reading a book. There's so many examples. You guys know what they are. So we're trying to kind of give you the reason why they're important, because most people know what they are. You just won't do them because you're thinking that you're being selfish. And the essence of selfishness, and where the underlying issue is, that you're thinking you're hurting others. And Jean-Luc just alluded to that. You're thinking you're hurting others. Perfect example: Jean-Luc and Nick.
Or
Step classes. You know, we had plans this year in January to kind of blow up step and start going live and doing step every day and having people join us and start, doing step pro. Like, we had so many ideas, and then we kept getting sick. And I have no idea how hard it is for us to say we're taking a week or 2 weeks off of step, because in our mind, we feel like we're hurting others. We're feeling we're being selfish. We should just do class because we promised people we'd be teaching them step. And I know, and then I see the shaking your head. I know that you guys don't think that, but my inner self, the person I am as a human being, makes me think this narrative. And the same thing happens to each and every one of you in other situations. You might think, oh my God, I don't want to go to, for a walk with my friend today because my mom needs me because she said that she wants to sit with me for half an hour, for all day, to watch shows. But that 30 minutes, you know, is not the whole day. And so maybe that's important for you in that moment.
and there might be times where your moment of being, self-care moments is what I'd like to call them, might not might not happen when you expect them to happen either,
Exactly.
because there are other priorities that come into play. But don't feel bad about saying no to someone from time to time. There's nothing wrong with that. And I know we talk about power of saying yes, because yes, the word yes is such a powerful thing. But also being able to say no
Power of
is
saying
is
no.
just, and I don't want to call it the power of saying no,
That's,
but the
yes, the
ability.
power of saying no. Yes, the power of
Yes, the
saying
power of
no.
saying, but it's the ability to say no, or
Yeah.
or even the ability to say maybe not this time, but I'll do it next time, right? That is a huge thing. The ability to say, you know what, right now I need to focus on this for me, but if you ask me again, my answer might be different, because there's nothing wrong with that. When we're taking care of ourselves, we're taking care of so much of the stress that we have in our life, of the uncertainties we have in our life, of the we're taking care of the love that we have in our life when we take care of ourselves. Because what does it do when we take care of ourselves? It creates more, serotonin in our brains. It creates all of these chemicals that allow us to feel good and allow us to, like, um actually maybe even venture out in doing new things, right? Because we're giving ourselves that time to rejuvenate our minds and our bodies, and giving ourselves that time, because there are times where you have no choice but to take the self-care, especially when you're sick, right? Those aren't even a question. When you're sick, you got to take the self-care. You have to. It's not easy. Some harder times are when you're not sick and you want to help other people so much, but if you haven't helped yourself, how are you going to help somebody else?
It's always the oxygen mask, right? Same, they say it. We all came back from Dominican. They told us on the plane, you gotta put the mask on before you help others. It's the same
I thought
thing
that she was funny though. Didn't she say
on the
something
way
else? Oh
back.
yeah. On the way back, the flight attendant on the microphone, she's like, "Okay, everybody. So we're just landing in Toronto right now, and it just to let you know, if you have any questions about your connecting flights, don't ask us on board because we have no clue. Ask the people at the gate." She was hilarious, but it's so funny, like these little things, And I know, even have a. I almost want to give you guys instead of having a self, like a selfish day, not even what's the word I'm looking for, like a self-help day, or have a self-help talk with yourself. Have a moment where you're like going to go in and take those 20 minutes and just do a positive self-talk.
So I did want to talk about. So now I hope everybody understands the topic of why self-care is important. Before we end tonight's talk, I did want to touch on something. So today, we posted the rest of our pictures from our trip today, and it was actually someone posted a comment somewhere, and I'm trying to find the comment. I want to guess I'm stirring the pot maybe a little bit here. Ooh. Okay, here we go. So someone commented on this post, and I'll read it out because I want to bring up this topic just to make sure everybody understands and gets a clear understanding of what Jean-Luc and Nick are about. So here's the comment. I'm not going to say names, but you can go read the original post. This person has since left our group. It looks like you had a great time. This is our trip to Dominican. Have you moved from a weight loss group to a travel group? Forgive me for saying that you seem to have gained some weight, which makes me think that weight loss management is no longer your priority. I know you do step classes, which is nice. However, weight loss is 80% what you put in your mouth. Are you familiar with the expression, you can't run away from your fork? So this is the comment Jean-Luc and I got today. And so I want to thank our little army because I woke up this morning. So I'll say this, if I had woke up this morning and saw that alone, it would have crushed me today because, mental health and all that. But when I thought there's already two people that already replied and stood up for us, and then three more people came in and people started late. So anyways, I want to bring up this post because number one, Jean-Luc and I are not, if you'll notice all of our websites, everything we talk about now, we're no longer focused on weight loss. We are focused on living a happy life. So you'll see that now most of our things that we do on social media is just showing our life. And part of our life is losing weight. And so we will still be sharing our weight loss journey as it goes up and down for the rest of our life. Because what we believe in is that we will be trying to lose weight from now till the day I die. And so I'm going to enjoy life along the way. So that's what I have to say to that. And I know I need to put down the fork. I ate like 67,000 poutines in the last 2 years, and they were all delicious. I don't know if you wanted to say something, because I know you didn't get to actually see it when it happened because you saw it all
Oh,
later.
I did. I saw it later, and which is fine. And I'll be honest, I didn't even go read everybody else's posts because I knew what everybody else would there. Um, Whoever posted below was there to support us and gave us some love. So you know what I did instead? I went to that person and I sent them a personal message. I didn't even tell Nick this. And all I said is, I said, I hope you have a wonderful life and a fantastic journey. And I hope everything that you want comes true. And I said, goodbye. And then I blocked the person. Because you know what? What is it going to do to me to get angry at them? What's it going to do? So I thank all of you for, there's going to be people out there that are going to do this to every single one of us. And it's done to all of us all the time in different ways. But you know what? I look at it as a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone for me. That's your opinion. You're allowed to have it.
We support everyone and anyone who wants to be
Yep.
happy in life. And so we
Yep.
are very happy, joyful guys. And if you don't like happy, joyful guys, sorry, this is not the best
You're in
place
the
for you to
wrong
be. You're in the
place.
wrong place because that's our shtick. We just want to make people smile, and that's what we do. So if you want to smile and laugh once in a while, follow us. If you don't, then like he said in a nicer term than I said bye, Felicia, but I didn't say that. But I was still.
Oh, I did. It was almost like giving her one of these.
But anyways, I digress. We're being bitchy gays here right now. But we're trying. You know what, guys? We've decided
This is who we
this is who
are.
we are. And going down to something happened to us during the COVID lockdown this year and being sick, and we are gonna be ourselves. This is who we are, and this is about sharing our lives, our ups and downs, because we will always struggle with our weight. And so any comments that people make about our weight, fine, make them, keep them coming. Because you know what? It won't stop us from continuing trying to lose weight because we'll be doing that for the rest of our life. And you know what? 95% of all of us watching this right now, you're probably thinking, me too. Me too. So you know what? We'll all struggle together. So at some point you'll be
No,
skinny, skinny, skinny. You'll be like, yay! And we'll be like,
and
and
and a lot of times, and sometimes you know what it is, and maybe this is a thing. Maybe that person themselves is struggling, and that was the only way they can express it, right? So you have to look at it that way. And sometimes we put tone
I
into
love how you're trying
things.
to be the PC. I'm like the
Again,
bad cop and you're the good
yeah.
cop.
But that's who I am. I'm that type of person. That's who I am. I'm always the, you know what? Until I know someone's actually their intentions are to hurt me, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt because it makes me happier that way. It puts me in a better mood by giving them the benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying that like I'm not saying that it wasn't hurtful or it didn't bother me, but in order for me to be at peace with it, I have to say you're allowed to your opinion, but I don't need to be around that,
I already
right?
met
And we're
peace. I don't, you know what my
exactly.
piece was? It was called a block button. That's right there. That is exactly all I needed. But we wanted to bring this up tonight because we in the past a lot of the time, especially when we were ambassadors for Weight Watchers, we couldn't really air out our dirty laundry, like be like gossipy little. Yeah, we couldn't talk about these things. It's not something that we can actually be honest about. And so we
And
wanted to be honest about this comment because it did hurt us. Like if you guys are thinking they're like, oh my God, no, it did hurt us. Like it's definitely a very hurtful comment. And that's why I said, you know, and how I responded to the person was to say, this is a really hurtful comment. Like you have to realize if someone said this to you, you would get hurt as well. So how is this something that's you would want to say to other people? And so I wanted to make sure that people understand this. You have to be careful what you say on social media. You have to understand that if you're writing something and you read it and you can still see it in any way that you could be insulted by when you read it without context, change the way you wrote it. Add the extra detail. Go back and enter the extra detail. If you think, oh my God, this is too long, don't worry. Make it longer. More detail sometimes is better than ambiguity.
and all I want to say is no matter where you are on your journey, if you are on a wellness journey or not, you're always welcome here. You're always welcome. Like this is one thing that we are always 100%. If you're doing P3, if you're doing WW, if you're doing Jenny Craig, if you're doing keto, if you're doing paleo, if you're doing, I can name every single one, and we will not judge anyone for doing something that they need to do.
If you decided your choice is to take Ozempic, if you, we will never judge anyone on anything you do
Nope.
because we don't want to be judged about our lives. And people have judged us about our lives because we are a gay couple. And so we will never judge others. We're just here to make people happy and to have a community of people that smile and laugh along with us. And so that's why we bring the hard topics. We'll talk about them and we'll joke about them and we'll make sure to discuss them. But in the end, we want our social media to be happy sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows because it makes us happier to see sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows when
There's enough devastation happening in the world today that you know what, carve a little time for some happy time for yourself.
yeah.
If that means, go getting that massage, go getting that manicure, go getting your hair done, going to a spa and just sitting in a hot tub for the day, going to a beach, going to a museum on your own and walking through a museum, going to see a show, going to watch a play, going to a movie. Like, and I'm giving you all of these different suggestions because these are going for a walk in the park, not even a walk, going to sit in a park and just forest bathing or park bathing, in other words. There are so many ways to take care of yourself and also making sure that by taking care of yourself, you are going to take care of others forever. Because that's what we do as people. We
We
take care of
want
ourselves and we take
we
care of others.
all we want is you guys to be around a long time too, so we can be fun and have fun together for a long time. So it's really we're being selfish, really. We want to see your faces for a lot longer. So in order to do that, I'm sorry everybody, we all got to get healthier together. If you want in 20 years from now to go on a trip together, we got to make it happen. Start eating our kale. Damn it. I know exactly,
I like
Lynn.
kale, so it's not a problem. Again, hun, this is like the third show I've asked you, change the vegetable.
Because that's the worst one.
Enough with kale. There's asparagus, there's
I,
onions, there's
I
cauliflower, there's
Yeah, but these ones, like, I can eat cauliflower and onions are good when they're
you,
fried.
you don't eat asparagus.
Yeah, but I like asparagus better than
You
kale.
don't eat collard greens. You
No.
don't like squash. You don't like
Uh, okay, no, no,
eggplant.
no, 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 no. Let's rewind a bit here. Let's rewind, okay? Onion. I like the form where it's cooking, the smell, right? One. The what was the other one you said? What were the other ones you said that I don't like? Okay, asparagus, asparagus. I can eat asparagus. Just put a lot of cheese sauce on it, lots of salt. Easy to go down the hatch, no problem. But when you talk about kale, kale tastes like crapola when it's in a chip form, when it's in a cooked form, and even sometimes when it's a salad form. It's only good in very small situations for me. Onions smell good all the time when they're fried. When you put onions and butter, any onion hater will say it smells good. Even sometimes I'll be like, mushrooms and onion smell is like, it smells like dirty mud, but it smells somewhat okay. But no, I can't give it to I'm sorry, hun. You lose this round.
All I'm saying is just change the vegetable. Make it so other people can relate. Because not
They
I'll
relate. Who doesn't relate to kale? Come on.
because who likes kale? Raise a hand.
No one. See, I told you.
One, two, three. There was still three
Okay,
people
okay.
there.
Who doesn't like kale? Who doesn't like kale? Let's switch it. Let's switch it. See, look at that.
Your mom likes kale.
I know. She's lowering her hand now.
Oh.
So yeah, my mom loves
Yeah.
kale. So yeah, so on that note, we hope you guys enjoyed tonight's discussion. It was again self-care. Next week we'll go more into the topic of efficiency.
Is that next week?
Yeah, next Sunday actually, because of
Oh,
all
wow.
us being sick, things were moved around. So we're having two Sunday chats 2 weeks in a row. Oh no. So yeah, so next week we'll talk about efficiency. So how do we make our lives more efficient? We'll probably show you guys, some of the tools we use. I'm actually, Jean-Luc gave me an idea at one point of maybe I'll probably take our financial sheet that I've used in Google Sheets and remove our amounts. I'm not showing you guys all that, but remove the amounts and then show you guys what I do for budgeting, tools that I use to help me try to make our lives more efficient so that I don't have to think about things. There's a lot of stuff that we do that people would think, well, that's stupid. Why is that a thing you guys do that? Why do you guys do that? And it's like, we do this because by doing this way, yeah, it takes a lot of time to set up. And a lot of these systems that you put in place take time to set up. But once they're set up, the time you save in the long run adds years to your life when you realize these efficiencies. So we'll talk
And
about some of these next week, some of the stuff we've done. Go ahead, Han, sorry.
no, and that's what I was going to say. We're going to be talking about that next week.
Yeah, so
So that's exactly. On another note, for those of you who have Apple TV, and this is a complete other topic, I made Nick watch it last night. If you haven't watched the play "Come From Away," which was the play about in
9/11.
Newfoundland, 9/11, all the planes, they actually have the Broadway production of it on Apple TV right now that you can watch. If you haven't watched it, watch
And I think it's
the
free.
show. It is. It's on Apple TV. If it's on Apple TV, yeah. If you have an Apple TV and you're an Apple TV, have Apple TV Plus. Pardon me, I'm still coughing a lot. It is free and it is a fantastic show. For Nick to even sit down and barely play on his iPad.
I didn't play on my game. I watched.
He watched the
My
entire time,
ADHD was focused fully. Like my 5 personalities was focused on that.
And it was a musical on top of that. But it's a really good show. Very, very interesting to watch. So
it was,
I
why
do
I liked
recommend
it. I'll explain why I liked it as a analytical person. Is I love history. And so when I learn a new facet of history that I didn't know about, especially at a time that we were all part of, we all went through 9/11, we all were somewhere at that day, but you have no idea what the people on planes went through that day. For all of us who just came back from Dominican, think about this, okay? Think about this. You're flying home from Dominican and you land in Gander, Newfoundland, in the middle of nowhere, with no lights. There's rock everywhere and no
it's
one tells you
black,
what's going
dark
on, and
out.
you're on a plane for 28 hours and no one's told you what's going on. What's going through your mind? So imagine that, and that's what the musical's about. So like, go! It's really crazy to. Like, I'm glad that day I was working at a pizza place. I won't lie. I went to school that day. I was in high school.
And I'll just say that it's also a really great feel good. As much as it's a terrible story about what happened in New York and 9/11, what the people gained from whatever happened in that experience was
Yeah.
also absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. So on that note, it is 7:45. We are off. Have a great evening, everybody. I hope you all,
We are
take some.
planning. Step is happening tomorrow. Might just be me, but it is happening because I can breathe.
Yeah, I'm still not breathing very well. I'm still coughing a lot and it's killing me tonight. So have a great night, everybody. Talk to you soon. Love ya. Take care of yourself.